Welcome to the Knakal News Network. The Knakal News Network is brought to you by the Knakal Group, Cushman & Wakefield's #1 investment sales team in New York City.
Thank you guys all very much, and thank you for being here. So what I wanted to talk about tonight, and before we start talking about things, I have some questions for you. First of all, I'd like everybody to raise your hand. Everybody raise your hand. The reason I asked you to do that is because now you're 74% more likely to raise your hand with these next questions that I asked. First is the sales market in New York City getting better? Getting better. I don't see any hands. Well, a couple. Okay, is the sales market getting weaker? Okay. Have land values peaked? Are cap rates rising? Are prices per square foot rising? Are prices per square foot falling? Okay, so what I want to do tonight is talk a little bit about what's going on in the market. And I'm not really going to give you an opinion about, or a strong opinion, I should say, about where the market's headed, but I'm going to give you a lot of information such that you can draw your own conclusion about where the market is going. And to kind of come up with the thesis or the subject for tonight's talk reminds me of my days back at the Wharton School in 1981, and I was sitting in Econ 101, and I loved that class. I don't know why I loved it. I loved the theories that the professors threw out about how markets work, things like that, paradigms like guns and butter, right? Guns and butter, the quintessential, very simple production possibility metric that talks about a government and the decisions they make between defense and consumer goods and the allocation amongst those things. And then there's the paradox of diamonds and water, right? You learn you can't live without water. You can live without diamonds, but diamonds cost a heck of a lot more than water do. So Adam Smith, in his book, Wealth of Nations, wrote about this, and he wrote about value in use and value in exchange. And often the things that have the most value in use have very little value in exchange. And the reverse is true. So I'm talking about markets and what drives the emotional motivation of market participants. Two of the most important things in that dynamic are fear and greed. Fear and greed. The third one is herd instinct. But fear and greed, that's what drives the market. Where are we in the market? When markets are good, greed takes hold. When markets are bad, fear sets in. So what I want to do tonight is talk about fear and greed. I have two friends that are going to join me later to help explain what's going on with fear and greed in the marketplace. But I thought what we'd do tonight is go through where we've been, a recap of 2014, what 2015 has been like, talk about where we're headed in the market, the volume of sales, what's happening with values, look at some macroeconomic considerations, and how fear and greed impact each of those relative to commercial real estate. Then we'll have some questions and answers, and then I'll finish up talking about some of the recent transactions we've done and some of the properties that we have available. So if we look at 2014, at the end of 2014, I said that it was simply the best year I had ever seen in the 31 years at the time that I had been brokering in New York. And today I say that 2015 is rivaling 2014. In some ways a little better, some ways not quite as good, but two unbelievable years back to back. So if we review 2014, we see that we have about $58 billion in sale transactions, which was about 40% higher than it was in 2013, but not quite the $62 billion that we had in 2007 at the peak. Number of properties sold, 5,533, an all-time record by more than 10%. Never had that many sales in New York City before. Citywide appreciation in the 4 boroughs, our statistics don't include Staten Island. No offense to Staten Island, we just look at the other 4 boroughs. Up 20%. In Manhattan, 37% appreciation. The supply of properties was excellent. That's what led to all of those sales. And demand drivers were excessive. There were more people wanting to buy property in New York in 2014 than any time I had ever seen. Is the market in a bubble? Is it going to burst? Will this market continue? Will it continue to run?